Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for coming to the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show on the iNetpreneur Network. I'm your host, Donna Guinouard, and I'm really, really glad that you've joined us here this afternoon. We have three incredible speakers, and today's show is about financial wizards. Finance is your future? You're going to want to start now. The iNetpreneur Network is where entrepreneurs, business owners, influencers, and experts come together to talk about their challenges and their triumphs, their tragedies and their impact. So let's get behind their stories and learn from their perspiration and inspiration. I'm here today with Robert W. Jones, who is the founder and chairman of Network Together.
Hey, Donna. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Robert?
I am doing great. I'm excited today because it's like three of my favorite people are on this show today. Ones that you and I both know, and like true like warriors for the Network Together brand and true financial stewards for their clients. You know, I love them all and I learn so much from them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A little earlier, and I just want to put this out there, we were having some net connection issues. So if that happens, so I'm just telling you up front, it might be a heavy internet use day around the world.
Yeah, we'll just.
So what do we have going on? And
we'll type the questions into the chat room, Donna.
There we go. We'll make it work. So what do we have going on in Network Together?
Well, a couple of things this week. We're putting the final touches on our next issue of the iNetrepreneur magazine. It's 40 pages of inspiring stories of our own entrepreneurs and a few bonus entrepreneurs that are outside the Network Together community. It's slated to come out on August 24th, so I'm really excited about that. Darwin Perkins is our cover boy this issue, so I'm really excited to learn more about him. Also, I'm excited.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is, you know, everyone knows that I think by now that we have an iNetrepreneur Academy, and we completed our first full month with Speaker Pathway Coalition with Jim Grant and Don McGrath. You know, Donna, we both love those guys. They're
amazing men.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But we've had
they are true servants.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. You know, and another person who really has a heart for people and real estate and investing is Stuart Geffner. So Stuart has contributed 2 classes himself to the Academy, and I'm actually starting to hear a lot of buzz both between the speaking curriculum and the real estate curriculum that we have through the Academy. And you can find those classes by going to ntevents.net.
Absolutely. And I would like to add on top of that, and even non.
That's right. Yep. You know, members and non-members alike can go to our Academy, you know, and learn. So it's a great place to not only, you know, learn and get some education, but also to meet and network with other people.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we have an incredible show today, and I just can't wait to jump right into it.
I can't either. Have a great show. I'll see you at the backside.
Okay. All right. Well, today my first guest is none other than Joanna Walker.
Hi, Donna.
Hey, Joanna. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm have a little internet issues. We're still having a little internet connection issues.
We'll get it.
We'll just go with it. But thank you for taking time out of your day to be here on the show and let me interview you. I really appreciate that. But before we dive right into the interview, Joanna, Joanna is a financial professional way, the Money Works company. She has been in the financial service industry for over 6 years and was an educator for over 15 years. So I can see kind of where those both tie hand in hand. Joanna is married with 2 wonderful children, loves to attend her children's sporting events. You there?
Yep, I'm here. I'm here. Yep.
Okay. All right. Bit of a delay, but let's start with a little bit. You're not actually from Arizona, are you?
No, I actually grew up in Iowa. I grew up there and went to Iowa State, have a horticulture degree. I was a landscape designer for a while. I lived there for a couple years, and a couple years after I graduated from college, I moved to Portland, Oregon, and met my now husband up in Portland, and then we moved here to the Valley in 2001. So we've been here a while now.
Okay. Yeah. So you're getting close to native.
Yeah.
Robert and I, right? At least you're used to the heat. Let's put it that 13 out right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's warm, but whatever.
And some aren't. And some go back and forth between working, for a company. And there's a lot of great companies out there. And then there's a lot of companies like myself. I've done both. I started out, honestly, when I was probably 5-6 years old, earning money. And that's as an entrepreneur.
Okay, I am so sorry. The internet is eating up a lot of what you're saying. I'm not sure what you're asking.
Did you start out as an entrepreneur?
Okay, great. So I did not start as an entrepreneur. I worked for a landscape nursery for a couple years after I got out of school. I've had a couple smaller forays into different businesses, but this is the first time I've really developed a strong business. I've been around entrepreneurs all my life. My parents, from the time I was young, had their own business. My dad still runs his own furniture refinishing business. So we've been very blessed to have parents who understand the entrepreneurial world and some of the challenges and the benefits that come from that. So.
Absolutely. And then you started out, you were in the education field for 15 years?
I was in education for quite a while. Once we moved here, I had a job where they would pay for you to go to school. So I went back and got my master's in education at that point. And then I taught elementary school for a while. And then I did some online work with different universities and educational companies. And then it was just over 6 years ago when I started educating through this company, through my business now.
Awesome. So why don't we kind of jump right into that? Give us, what sets you apart as a financial wizard and how you help your clients.
Okay, so I like the financial wizard. I don't know that I've ever been considered magical before, but I do like it.
Well, it says the high energy show.
Yes. It's not just like financial people. No. We're going right. Full force. Go with wizard, right? Yeah. So some of the background that we have with finance is maybe not the traditional path that what you consider a financial advisor to be. In our family, my husband had his own business back in early to mid 2000s. And as 2008, 2009 came around, people didn't really care if their garage floor looked pretty or if their pool deck was chipped. And so unfortunately, the business pretty much stopped. We went through bankruptcy and lost our home. So that's really kind of our start and our, kind of our fire right into the fire of here's what can happen in a bad financial situation. But I think what that allows me to do, at first I thought, who's going to want to listen to me? We've had this stuff happen, right? But actually, I think that's what kind of endears me, or people feel a commonality with me in some ways, because they know I'm not some, financial advisor that's off in the tower. Like
you're not a pitch person.
I'm right. It's not that I, sometimes people have never been through financial stuff. We've been through financial stuff and been able to come back from that. So that's really where I'm coming from. I don't want anybody to have to go through that, but if they are there, I want them to know I get it. I've been where you are.
Right.
You don't have to be stuck there. So I think that's part of what makes me somewhat different than some other financial advisors. I've been through it and working on coming out the other side. Certainly, when I say I know what happens when they're calling and you don't want to answer the phone, I know exactly how that is. And I'd say, it's okay, we'll figure it out. Don't worry.
Right. But that's important because, when you deal with a client, Joanna, I mean, let's be honest, you are talking about some of the most personal things you can talk about, and it can be difficult. And so if they don't have that emotional relationship with you, you are not able to help them in a way.
You're absolutely right, Donna. You're absolutely right. And I'm sure you'll hear that from everybody today. It's so important, that relationship that you build. It's not just I've got this product. Do you want to buy one? Okay, great. That's fabulous. We're really there to be that partner and that resource along the path. And we're there for we're there when things are up or there are challenges that may come. And so that's, it really matters that people have that, that you've taken the time to develop that relationship. They have that trust that when they know that stuff's happening, that they can reach out to you and you're going to be able to help them take care of things.
Absolutely. Because, if you are a pitch person or you're trying to bully a person into getting what you want because it benefits you, it doesn't work. It comes back to kind of bite you,
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's really that with all of us who are working on building a business, it's that idea of how do we build a sustainable business? It's not just how do I get this person to buy something right now? It's how can I build a relationship? How can I develop the trust? How can I provide great service so that they know that I'm there for them, that they know that they can trust us, that they know that we're going to be there for them, because our business is going to be so much stronger as well if we're in the relationship building aspect of it rather than just the transactional. Okay, thanks, bye.
Right. And what are some of the things you can offer people? Tips to give people financial, being a financial with.
Okay, so I think the question is,
in your own life,
what are some financial tips? Maybe some things that have worked for me, things that work for other people, kind of across the board. Perfect. So some things I would say are, really be aware of your spending, be aware of the money that's coming in, be aware of what's going out. And if you have, if you need help figuring that out, I know I'm able to sit down with people and work through a budget. I would imagine our other friends here are able to do that as well. And sometimes it's great to have an outside person. When it's my own money, I'm so emotionally attached to it. It's a much bigger issue. But that's why I call my financial advisor. But if you're paying attention and being aware of what's coming in and what's going out and the timing of that throughout the month and throughout the year, that's certainly something that can be very helpful for people. Realizing that there are a lot of things that you may not know. So with a lot of us, we know other business owners, and I like to explain it for other business owners. So say somebody is working with auto insurance. Okay, that's their expertise. I understand what insurance is. I don't work with auto insurance, but I'm able to build those relationships and go to the expert in those areas. So when you're taking a look at different advisors and you're saying, okay, well, could somebody do their own investments? Yes. Do most people have the time or the capacity or the information or the knowledge to do that? No. And in those cases, that's where it is really beneficial to be able to rely on an expert. It's okay to bring in an expert for help. There are so many people with great information and great resources to be able to help. So as far as different tips, being aware of what's coming in and what's going out and the timing of that. And then also realizing it's okay if you don't have all the answers. It's okay to ask for help. That's really, I think, one of the most empowering things to do. One of the strongest things to do is to say, I don't know, but I know someone who does, and I want to be able to bring in that help. So those, I think, are certainly some ideas that have worked for us and, tend to work for a lot of people as well. When it comes to
perfect. I love it. I love it. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. And I think that's important for people to understand. Don't the two mixed up. Yeah. So we have about 4 minutes, Joanne. I want to ask you, as an entrepreneur, as a person, as a mom, when you wake up in a grumpy mood, because it happens to everybody, right? What do you? I know, right? The kids, the dog, the cat. Shoot, we're out of milk.
Oh yeah. Were you watching my house?
What?
Watching me here?
Right? I lost my shoes. Mom, I lost my shoes. But what do you do to get yourself back into that really good space and get the grumpiness away, and so that you can come back to your clients, really ready to receive and give and pour into them?
Sure. No, that's a great question. And as I'm watching the hummingbird fly outside my window, it's very calming. So as I'm thinking about coming back from grumpy places, it's perfect. But really, I think a lot of it is just taking a moment. Sometimes it's just taking some deep breaths. Sometimes it's just being aware that you're in a grumpy mood and just going, okay, well, this is not how I want to show up. So what am I going to do? Maybe it's listening to something, whether it's music that I want to listen to that's going to get me in a great mood or energized or pumped up or whatever it may be, or listening to a podcast or a recording of somebody that's has some inspirational words. It's going to be tough sometimes, and that's okay, because you're going to make it and you're strong, and you're like, yes, I am. So I think sometimes it can come from within. What's that? I'm super welcoming. Yeah. Sometimes it can come from within, just in your own thoughts. And I think sometimes it is a matter of bringing in other information, whether it's the words you're hearing or the way you're hearing things or the music you're listening to, or calling somebody and saying, oh my gosh, you're never going to believe this. And then this, and then this, and then this. You're like, okay, it's out of my system. Now we can get back to it. Right. I love it. I love it. As a high energy performance coach, one of the things, depending on my clients' modality, works for them. I either teach them how to do deep
or get in that lighter. So we are still having a few connection issues, folks. Sorry about that. Internet keeps popping in and out on us. Well, Joanna, you know, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day and sharing your story and your servant's heart and why it is you do what you do and help people to be, unfortunately, got in.
Well, thank you, Donna. I really appreciate you and the opportunity to be on here today. So thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Okay, folks, that was Joanna Walker. She is an amazing woman. And if you need her information or feel that you would rather have a warm introduction, I'd be super happy to do that for you. So our next guest it's very exciting, is Ross Yukolis.
Hey, good afternoon, Donna. Hi, everybody. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ross, and thank you for taking time out of your day and letting me interview you.
I appreciate it very much. It's an important topic.
So, well, it is. And, you know, before I start the interview, Ross, I talk about my guests. So bear with me a minute. Talk about you. One partner. He is dedicated to helping his clients understand their financial situation and customizing a plan for their financial growth. Ross is a native Phoenician, which is rare. He loves to play tennis and is a connoisseur of great foods, wine, and
Your audio. Wow. So Donna's audio and I guess now video is breaking up a little bit. So until she gets back, just really quickly, I was born in Phoenix just a few years ago. And I do love tennis. I do like to eat a little too much. There she is. I think we got her back. The audio was breaking up, but I do love Phoenix. I did move away for quite a number of years and I'm back, happy to be back. And I don't play tennis in the summer. I save that for the fall, winter, and spring and swim a lot of laps in the summer. Donna, can you hear me now? Yeah, no tennis in the summer because of the extreme heat. Just a little toasty out there. So actually,
it's a little hot to play tennis.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, but it's very nice inside my home office. I actually became interested in the entrepreneurial world and the finance world at an extremely young age. I had the good fortune. My father was in business for himself. He was a small electrical contractor. At one time, in his best years, he was up to 10 employees. Most of the time throughout history, I had 2 or 3. I had a grandfather who had a jewelry store downtown who I dearly loved and still miss many, many years later. He was very inspirational in my start. He made me do a lot of mundane work like having to wind watches back in the day when they were manual and had to be wound, take deposits to the bank, clear the showcases, wipe down the showcases, clean the windows, and so on and so forth. He had a pretty outrageous work ethic. He probably worked 14, 16 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. It was a little too much. Not quite the balance that I would really like to strive for. But in any case, I learned a whole lot from him. I would take deposits when I was 6, 8 years old. In the days where now this is unthinkable, I would hop on a city bus, go downtown Phoenix, walk from the bus stop to his store, do my work, go to the bank. And then while I was at the bank, when I was 8 or 10, there's Wall Street Journal sitting in the lobby, right on the table. And I'd start reading Wall Street Journal.
Right.
And my grandfather had a buddy who had a coin store. I started collecting coins. I started talking to him about gold and silver and coins. Numismatics is the study of coins. So I got very, very involved. And oh, by the way, my uncle had a very successful scrap metals business once upon a time. At one point, he had 50 employees and had family members involved with the business. And now, many, many years later, I'm in business in the financial services arena. I had long time ago, after graduating from ASU, I actually worked for a life insurance company for 5 years and then got out of that business and got back in it about 3 years ago and do the whole holistic financial planning. But that's the reason I got back in the business, and I'm really passionate about it, was unfortunately, people have life events. My uncle had diabetes. He didn't take care of himself. My aunt had Alzheimer's. My dad had a heart attack. And as a small business owner, that was devastating and destroyed his business. He tried to come back from that really quickly. It wasn't able to, and ultimately lost all his customers. His business all went away. He had a great reputation, but as all you find folks out there that are small business owners know, if you have a heart attack and your subcontractors are saying, hey, I need a bid on the next job, and you don't respond or can't respond on a timely basis, eventually, no matter how much they love you and trust you, they're going to go find another electrical contractor. So, and I think what sets me apart because of
what sets
family,
you apart?
Sure. So having gone through a lot of life experiences, my mom coming up this October passed away about 6 years ago. And she and my aunt suffered from Alzheimer's. My parents were not good savers and planners. My mom a little bit better than my dad. And that's one thing I would share and recommend absolutely to couples out there, whether they're married, whether they're engaged, whether it's boyfriend, girlfriend, hanging out, is you need to really have those conversations with your partner. And so when we start talking to a prospective client, the most important thing to me is to understand their situation, their financial picture, as well as their family picture and what's going on in their life, right? The most important thing to me is to understand what they need, how they feel about what's going on, their job or their business, and really get to know them. And then we help those fine folks put together a blueprint based on their goals, and certainly not mine, but act as a coach and advisor to help them put that plan together. And so we start by, again, building that relationship, asking a whole lot of personal questions, both from a financial perspective, health perspective, as well as what's going on with their family as well. So that's how we start the relationship. I can tell you that there are a lot of great financial advisors out there. One of the things, though, I'm going to pick on, say, the Merrill Lynch's of the world for a second, and Morgan Stanley's. Those guys aren't always doing the complete holistic financial deal. They're not necessarily looking at the life insurance. They're not looking at long-term care. Long-term care is a really big deal. Health insurance costs when we retire are a huge deal. Watching my mom go through that slow decaying process of Alzheimer's, and she didn't have the assets at the time I was in Northern California. My sister, bless her heart, came in, but the challenge and the problem is that, yeah, if you don't have enough assets, you can go on Medicaid or and because Medicare will not pay for long-term care, by the way. So there's very, very limited benefits around that with Medicare. And there's 70% of all of us are going to have a long-term care event eventually. And the effect it has on the family members, on the caretakers, in my case, on my poor sister who spent hours and hours, it became a part-time job for my sister to try and negotiate all the red tape to find a place for my mom. And that can destroy families. So that's why when I say we want to get to know the person, their circumstances, both financial, their health, their family, what that's like, and even the relationship among siblings,
Right.
for all the reasons that I just talked about. Another really, really quick short story dear to my heart, though, is my uncle, who was incredibly successful, who was a good planner, had not only the foresight to have lots of life insurance for my wonderful aunt, but he did have a partnership. He had his son-in-law, and his wife in the business, which creates a whole bunch of other really fun and exciting and challenging issues when you have spouses and children and in-laws in a family business. He actually did have the foresight to do a buy-sell agreement so that when he passed, there was life insurance to help fund the things that he did. But the reality is he didn't go to that last step of having a business succession plan, which is another thing. We work with small business owners, and we can actually work on investments, insurance, obviously, but then also on the taxes and legal stuff. And all those pieces of the puzzle have to be put together. And in fact, the fighting among the siblings destroyed my uncle's business, even though that at first there was plenty of cash in theory to run it. Everybody had their own independent ideas. There was no outline of responsibility. And the truth is, my uncle, bless his heart, he was really the deal maker. He was very successful at that. And so once he passed away, his wife, my aunt, did a lot of the bookkeeping, did a lot of operation stuff, did collection stuff. I mean, she did all kinds of stuff. And then my cousin was a manager, and his brother-in-law was a manager. But after my uncle passed, there was just all kinds of fighting, and that over time, over a 2 or 3 year period of time, that destroyed his very incredibly successful business. So planning with the right person, with somebody you're comfortable with, is just so critical.
It is. We have about 4 minutes left, Ross, and I like to ask my guests, what do you do, just briefly in a couple sentences, but what do you do when you wake up in a grumpy mood? It's just not a good morning, right? And you've got to meet a client in an hour and a half or what have you, and you've got to get yourself in that place. What do you do?
So thanks. That's a great question. And I usually, the couple deep breaths that Joanna Walker mentioned is incredibly helpful, because there's definitely those stressors throughout the day. And I have a dog at the house that's a little bit of a maniac too, and that's why I'm wearing the headset. It helps muffle the noises when someone approaches the house. My favorite is I'll hit YouTube and listen to some inspirational speaker. He may have nothing to do with the industry, and then sometimes I'll listen to experts within the financial industry who are on various topics who get me pumped up. Oh my goodness, the internet, the age of internet. So since we lost our host for a minute, I'm going to throw out one more thing too. I know it was another question for another advisor. It's so important to do even very basic things like budgeting. You really have to have a handle. You can't run a business without knowing where your money's going on an income and cash flow basis. I feel it's my personal philosophy that I try and educate and impart to my clients. They need to run their personal financial life as if it's a business, because it truly is. And you can have fun doing that, but it is a serious business. So Joanna Walker talked about budgeting. It's just really critically important. There's very much, it's very empowering knowing where perhaps you can make some cuts. And we help folks with basic budgeting too. So I don't care if that person has $5,000 to invest or $2 million to invest. Everybody's in a different place, and we respect that and we educate them. And it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum they're at. There's usually something that we can find to help them, whether it's budgeting or really specific tax strategies around their business to help them fund a 401k.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, I thank you. You're a wealth of information, and I so appreciate you taking time out of your day to be on the show.
Thank you, Donna. It was a lot of fun. I appreciate being on the show today.
Oh, well, thank you. And it'd be better if we didn't have internet today. Okay, folks, if you are just joining us, you are on the High Energy Entrepreneur Radio Show on the iNetpreneur Network. I'm not only your host, Donna Guinouard, but I'm also your high energy specialist. So we just had Ross on, Ross Yukolis, who is a holistic financial wizard. And if you want to meet him, want a warm introduction, reach out to me. I'd be happy to do that for you. So our next guest is none other than Michelle Letterly.
Hello.
Hi. Hey, Michelle.
How are you?
Thank you so much for being here today and taking time out of your schedule. I am wonderful. We are having some serious internet connection issues.
That's okay.
So I may be touching some of my questions.
Sure. Well, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to be a part of this amazing live video. Oh, I think she froze again.
Okay, I'm here. Yeah, I don't know
go.
what's going on today. Usually I have stellar internet. Yeah. So, okay, before we start, I always like to brag about my guests. So it's my turn to brag about you. Michelle is a regional leader with Primerica Financial Services and will be opening her own office later this year. I'm so excited for her. She, her passion in helping other people. Nation, the mother of 2 beautiful babies, and a former educator.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm bouncing in you. Yeah.
So I'm not sure if there was a question in there. So yes, I am a native to Arizona, so a whole 39 years, and I am a former educator. I taught special ed for 14 years here in the Valley. Absolutely loved it. The joke in my family is I'm a professional student. I'm the youngest of 4, and I have enough degrees and went to school long enough for all 4 of us, and I'm the only one to go to school. So I definitely like learning. I love being able to help others. So I obviously did all my schooling here in Arizona because I am a hardcore Sun Devils fan. So I went to ASU for my undergrad and for my first master's degree. And then I went to Grand Canyon University for my second degree. But, just love being educated, love knowledge, and then being able to share that knowledge with people as well. So former educator helping little kids, and then realized, oh, I have my kiddos and I want to be able to spend time with my kiddos and still be able to help people and educate them. So then I switched to the educating adults on finances and providing that education. So I teach adults. I also do some work with children on teaching them about financials as well. You cut in for a second and then I lost you again. I was born in Arizona. Yep, at what is it? Osborne Hospital, right? And then grew up here. I was not really an entrepreneur at all. I never even really thought about being an entrepreneur. I thought the idea of being like your own boss would be great, or set your own schedule, but how do you do that as a teacher? So definitely was not in that entrepreneurial mind, but left, teaching and had this great opportunity present itself. So I've learned that skill, and I have found that deep down I was an entrepreneur, but didn't know how to harness that skill. So I've had to develop it and learn. I thankfully have some great coaches and mentors who have helped me develop that and, continue to grow. So, and I got into the financial world for a couple of reasons. One, like I said, I love helping people. I love educating them, but truly because I'm very passionate about life insurance because of my daughter. So as Donna said, I am the mother of 2 kiddos. So I have 2 living children, but I have 1 kiddo who is in heaven. So, and the reason that I people. So I don't know if you can see this very well, but that's her. Oops, it's backwards. So that's my little daughter, Mackenzie. She was my firstborn, born super early. She was born at 28 weeks. So meaning she was only in the womb for 2 of the 3 trimesters, and born at a pound 12 ounces. So super tiny, could fit in the palm of my hand. She spent all 85 days of her life in the NICU. And of course, that acquired quite a bit of debt. So her medical bills were at 1.5 million. Thankfully, we had a couple different insurances and things like that brought it down, but our out of pocket was about $25,000 plus a $13,000 funeral for a tiny human.
Right.
And she was not insurable, and nobody had ever talked to us about life insurance on kids or anything like that. I thankfully had some on me, but I'm still here. So it left us in financial ruins. It really did. Thankfully,
Right.
as a teacher, I had a bunch of sick days built up, so I was able to take some time off. My spouse did not. He was back to work after 2 days, which was horrendous.
Oh.
But we were not together at the time. So it actually caused a lot of financial issues for both of us. I was able to work out some of them, cut back on things, sell some things like that. But for him, it ended up causing so much trouble that he ended up having to file bankruptcy because of it. So,
Right.
and now we're together and have our 2 other children to take care of, and we've worked through all that financial side of things. But it really just made me passionate of, gosh, that was my kiddo who I don't rely on her income, right? But what if it had been my spouse? I rely on,
Right.
we rely on his income. So we would truly, truly be financially devastated. I would have lost my house. How would I have paid bills? How would I have put food on the table? And I get goosebumps. I don't want anybody to ever experience what I went through again. If I can help just even one family not have to experience that financial burden that comes along with it. Because I tell you, there's a big difference from if you've got money sitting in the bank or, money from a life insurance policy where if you want to take 6 months off from work, take 6 months off of work. Your grieving process looks different. My grieving process went a lot better than his because he was, like I said, he got to take 2 days off. The next week, he had to ask for permission to leave work early to go to her funeral. I was off. I took the whole second quarter of school off. I didn't go back to work till January after Christmas, after winter break. So
Right.
That's different. I had time to heal. I had time to, see a therapist. I had
Process.
time to work on me. I did things to remember her and honor her. I did, some charity work, and I did what I needed to do to heal. Obviously, I still had many years of healing to go through, but I was getting there faster than he was. So, you know, if you got 100 grand, 200 grand, that you're like, oh, well, I can just completely pay my mortgage and I don't even have a mortgage anymore. That makes for a different grieving process to take that time off and be able to focus on what you need, or be able to focus on your children, right? I saw that a lot as a teacher as well, and it didn't click until later. You know, I had a student around the same time his dad passed away, and so him and I really bonded that school year, you know, because we were both grieving. But his dad passed away, which left his family financial room. So him and his mom and siblings had to go move into, you know, their grandma's house or something like that. And he's like, I don't have my dad. I don't have my house. I don't have my bedroom. I don't have my stuff. I have to share a room with all my siblings. There's like 5 of us in one room. Like, oh my gosh, totally just turned his whole world upside down. And he was in 3rd grade. Like, poor kid, like his whole life is just in shambles, and he's 8. So, you know, that would have been so different. Family had life insurance and had, you know, that money there for them. So just, I'm so passionate about being able to help people in that realm.
Right. Well, and it's about having options.
Sure.
Right. It's about learning those options that can help you in one of the most difficult times of your life.
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
and having everything in place.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the things we're going through right now. My mom just actually passed away on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. It's been almost 48 hours, and you know what a difference. I'm thankful that I'm an entrepreneur in this process, and I was able to be there with her and not have to worry about, you know, trying to leave school as a teacher, or you know, I would have been doing online schooling at this point.
Right.
So thankful that I was able to just be like, hey, I got to move my appointments, and I just handed them over to somebody else and said, hey, here, handle this for me, and be able to be there. But you know, not to have to worry about financially too. Like I was now more prepared of like, hey, you know, 2 years ago when I got, you know, I've been in this business for 3 years, but you know, 2 years ago, sat with her and said, hey, let's get your stuff in order. Let's put this together.
Right.
So that way we don't have to scramble. Because unfortunately,
at the last minute.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if it happens, it's a matter of when it happens, because guess what? None of us are getting out alive.
Right.
So it's all happening for everybody. So we just don't know when. Oh, caught out again. But yeah, having a plan, no matter who you work with, again, just like others said, having somebody you trust. So how I like self-care and refresh.
Absolutely. Somebody you can trust.
Yeah. I think your question is how do I refresh and kind of like that self-care side of things. So well, lots of Starbucks. I am a coffee fanatic. I love coffee. So I do that a lot. Spending time with my kiddos. My kids are you know, my reason of why I do anything and why I work so hard at what I do and love helping others. So I have a 4-year-old daughter and my son will be 8 months on Monday. So, and they're fiery redheads. So I got to be able to keep up with them. So I like to be able to spend time with them. We're a very outdoorsy family, except for when it's this blistering hot. We like to do adventures and go drive up north and be in the pines and, you know, be near water and things like that. So that's what we like to do as a family, and just, you know, be able to
connect with nature.
Yeah. You know, that just helps you really reset and get centered back to being connected to the earth.
Yep. I love that. I love that. And I know, you know, with maybe 3, you are definitely very busy.
Yes. It's usually chaotic around here. I'd have somebody come take them and leave. Normally my kid would be jumping on something.
I love it.
So, yeah.
Well, you know, I mean, and that's the beauty of your story and how that you can help people with all the adversaries that you've gone through. That they can relate to and understand. And I think that's your superpower.
Thank you. Yeah, I definitely have been there. So
I
if I can help somebody, understand that process or go through that process, I'm very big on also being there for other families who have lost children. I'm a big support. I'm a trained support counselor for that. So I'm very passionate about being able to provide whatever services I can for families in their time of loss, and making things easier for them.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love that. There's so much about you that is a servant's heart. Really,
Yes.
there is just so much about you that is a servant's heart. And it's fascinating because, you had a situation that could have just broke you in your spirit, right inside. And you
Sure.
took it as an opportunity to become a phoenix and rise above it.
Absolutely. You have to learn from your situations. It just depends on what you're going to learn from it. So thankfully, she opened my eyes to see, you can use this to propel yourself into helping others in a whole nother direction, to be able to help even more people. So I work with people on a daily basis. I'll work on the weekends. I'll work at night. I'm very accommodating to people's schedules because I want to be able to help you. And especially if they've got kiddos, man, as much as I love helping the parents, I see those kiddos and I'm like, man, I can only imagine if something were to happen to me or my spouse, what about my kids? What's going to happen to them? So I love helping the parents, but I'm also thinking if I think got kiddos, in the back of my mind, I'm like, whoa, we got to get a plan together because we got to make sure those babies are taken care of.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, like Ross was talking about, even when there is no anything in place, long-term health, nothing for you to fall back on, that is such a financial burden. And
Right.
it is eaten up in about 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It is eaten
Absolutely.
up in about 2 minutes because I know, yeah, my mom and dad had long-term health insurance, and my dad passed away 2.5 months after I moved back. And my mom had dementia, and I honestly thought that she would go very shortly after him, but she hung on for 9 months.
Oh, wow.
It would have been devastating if there hadn't been that in place.
Sure. Absolutely.
So what you do is so incredibly important. And honestly, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day to be here. And I'm sorry that the internet is being really weird on me today.
You're good. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I just hope that anybody who watches this, whether you work with one of the three of us or somebody else, please make sure you get a plan put in place.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle, so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Michelle Letterly, and she is incredible with Primerica Financial Services. So if you want to get in touch with her, her information was running there. Warm introduction. Please reach out. Be happy to do that. Robert, are you there?
Yeah. Hey, Donna. Hi. You know what I really liked about today's show? Yeah. What I really liked about today's show is, we got to hear about the diverse backgrounds of Joanna, Michelle and Ross, and, just
Right?
listening. Yeah. And it's like, these diverse backgrounds, yet, there are certain moments in their life where the light bulbs go off, whether from Iowa or Arizona or any place in between, and they started, a financial journey for themselves, and they ended up loving the financial journey so much they found it wasn't about the numbers. It really is about the people. It's about the families. It's about the kids, the parents, the grandparents, and it's about, protection.
It's about who they can help and protect.
Yeah. And it's like, sometimes you listen to financial people and there's so much into the details of the numbers, you start to feel like a statistic, but I can tell if with our guest today, it's not about the numbers. I mean, it is about the numbers, but it's the numbers mean nothing, without the value that they provide to their clients.
Correct. And the relationship they have.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
and the relationship that they have with them. And it was just three incredible people I'm proud to call my friends.
I as well, I just want to remind everyone that we do have the iNetrepreneur radio show. It's called The High Energy Entrepreneur with Donna Guinouard. She is here each and every week. She is a high energy coach, and I'm going to put her information up here. She coaches clients on how to get the best out of their energy so they can perform at the highest level that they themselves can offer. I've seen her work with people and take them, really to places that they never know. She does it through energy work. She does it through, listening. She does it through, phone calls, or if she's going to have to just drive to your house, open that door and kick you out of bed, she's going to do it. So it's great, working with you, Donna. And I think that you did a wonderful job in the show today, bringing a lot of light, and showing that financial people are so much more than just facts, figures, and a few dollar signs. That we have financial people and network together that actually really care about their clients, and to see three financial wizards, I guess they're all financial wizards, coming together, offering their services, and knowing that the tree provides so many apples that we have all room to grow and glow. And you guys, I want to thank each and every one of you today. Please subscribe to our radio show, like us on Facebook, see us on our YouTube channel. And until next week from 2:30 to 3:30, when Donna comes back to rock your world with a high energy entrepreneurial show, each and every one of you have a great week. Goodbye, everyone.